Hello and welcome back to Wealthy Young Women, where we transform knowledge into wealth. Today we're talking about the importance of building a strong financial foundation within your 20s and your 30s. Early years in your career, in your adulthood, where it's most important to lay down the foundation, to lay down some good habits, some good practices on how you're going to manage your money going forward. Because in these early years is where those habits are formed and where the power of compounding is strong. The more you are in control, the more you know, the more you plan, and the more discipline you have to stick to your plan, that's what's going to guarantee your success. So if you start off good in your 20s and 30s and you continue that going into your latter years, you're going to be so much more financially secure, so much more stress-free and prepared for what life throws at you than someone who has not prepared. So I deem there to be three major areas, maybe four, because one can be divided into two. So four major areas of financial well-being that you need to really have down packed in order to secure a financial future. This is based on my own personal experience as well as my studies on other successful and wealthy people. So the four areas are budgeting. I know many people don't like to hear the word budgeting. They think that it's a bad, negative, stressful, or limiting thing. It is none of the above. They can be very simple and easy to follow. The second thing is saving money into a high yield savings account, saving money for immediate needs such as emergency or travel funds. The third one is investing, and this can be investing for retirement as well as investing for different financial goals. And then the fourth is understanding and building good credit. The reason why budgeting is so important, because a budget is like a recipe book. If you're gonna go and make some chocolate chip cookies, you know that you need to put a certain amount of flour in there, a certain amount of sugar, some butter, a little bit of baking soda, and some chocolate chips. But if you don't know exactly how much of each to put in there to reach your perfect chocolate chip cookie, that chocolate chip cookie is going to come out either super liquidy or like a piece of toast. A budget is just the same. You need to understand exactly what budget you need to have to reach those financial goals that you have in your mind, incorporating the time frame and the size of your goals. It also takes into consideration what your current financial situation is. So there is a budget for everyone. Even if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I guarantee you there is a way to develop a budget for you, for your personal situation that caters to your wants, your needs, and also your financial goals. My personal take right now on my budget is a 40-30-30 split. This is because my current lifestyle allows me to only spend 40% on my needs, 30% I allow for my wants, and I dedicate 30% of my personal income for saving and investment goals. I found that this is going to get me to my goal as quickly as I envision it, which is about a 20 to 30 year span. As they say, if you fail to plan, you basically plan to fail. It's important to note that when you're planning for your finances, you should be looking at your goals in like a long-term perspective. I view goals like short term, medium term, and long term. Short term is like between now and a year from now on. Medium term is like between 2 to 5 years, and then long term is 5 to 30 plus years. That's how I view it. Many other people have different perspectives, but that's just how I view my personal goals, and it's a way for you to view yours as well. So like I mentioned, budgeting is like that recipe that you follow to make sure that your perfect chocolate chip cookie, that your perfect retirement plan, that your financial goals are fulfilled. Once you find exactly what that recipe is that fits your expenses, that fits your lifestyle, and you are consistent about putting that percentage towards your investing and saving goals every year or every month, you're going to be in a much better position than somebody who doesn't even know how much or if they're even allowing any space for that financial goal to happen. That leads us right into saving and investing. If you don't know by now, let me be the first to tell you that an emergency fund is the first kind of savings account you should build to create that financial security for yourself, that financial safety net. That's something we all need, because I guarantee that at one point or another, we will all be faced with some sort of financial emergency that we didn't plan for and that we didn't foresee, but it came our way regardless. And when you're ready for those situations, you're going to breathe so much easier at night knowing that you're prepared for whatever comes your way. My rule of thumb for an emergency fund is that you need to have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved inside a high yield saving account. I don't go for just any saving accounts now. I go for a high yield saving account. This is an account that pays you back to have your money saved up with them. This can be anywhere from 1 to 5%, which is hence the word high yield, because you're getting a high percentage back on your money compared to regular savings accounts that most banks offer, which literally give you 0.01% on a good day. If you need your money in a liquid, accessible account, you should be putting it in a high yield savings account. This is easy to just electronically transfer money to and from your checking account into this high yield savings account, and it allows you the flexibility that you need for money that you may need to liquidate quickly. Now, for investing. Investing is so important, and the sooner you get started investing, the better off you're going to be when you're older. Why? Because of this thing called compound interest. Compound interest basically says the longer you have some money sitting there, gaining more money on top of more money on top of more money, it means that with time, your money starts compounding or starts growing on top of each other. So it actually starts working by itself due to that interest that's gained every year. The importance of investing early can be the difference between having $500,000 saved at retirement versus $1 or $2 million at retirement. So the earlier you get started, the more money you're going to have at retirement, which is why it's so important to start early. On average, people should be thinking of saving for their retirement at least 25 years ahead of time. That way you give your money the proper amount of time it needs to do all that extra lifting without the need to deposit more money. Start figuring out what those financial goals are for you and build an investing and savings plan that will make sure to get you there. Now, lastly, but very importantly, is the aspect of understanding and building strong, good credit. I was introduced to credit at a young age. I was probably about 18 years old when my mom started telling me that I needed to have a small credit account to start building my credit. My mom really supported me with this. She's always believed in having strong credit. She's very responsible with her money. She makes sure to pay her credit bills on time. She's very strategic with it. So she taught me how to start building my credit at a young age. I probably started about 18 years old with a secured credit account from my local credit union. And with that small, I think my initial credit limit was like $300. Once you start building that reputation with your lender and they see that this person's paying back on time, they'll start to increase your credit limit. You start to get a good credit score, and then you're eligible to apply for other kinds of credit cards or loans. I think that there are good situations for using credit, but many of us use credit the wrong way, and myself included, by the way, because when I was younger in my early 20s and I thought I had a grip on credit, but I really didn't. I went off spending thousands of dollars, racking up thousands of dollars on a credit card because I was traveling and buying myself things on credit, but I wasn't really paying it off. So after a couple of years, I ended up with like a $5,000 balance that I couldn't pay off because the interest was accruing so quickly. I was literally only paying off the interest. So I ended up having to take a small loan from a family member to pay off that credit card. I paid that family member back. I cut up that card and I never used credit like that again. So when you feel it getting out of control, learn to cut off cards. Learn to research how you can get out of debt quicker. Learn how to consolidate debt. Learn how to live under your means. That's the key. If you feel like you're spending so much money every month that you need to use credit cards, then you need to reevaluate your spending situation and figure out what you can cut back. Credit can be really great for accessing opportunities when you don't have all of the cash up front, whether that be buying a house, buying a car, or even starting a business in some cases. So your ability to have good credit is going to allow you to have opportunities to borrow money from banks that can give you that front so that you can use them for your needs and then pay it back over time. The key is when you have good credit, you're able to secure a lower interest, which means you're going to pay less for the money you're borrowing as opposed to somebody who has bad credit who may end up paying more for the same money borrowed. If you're going to open up a credit card, if you're going to open up a loan, ensure that you know exactly how much you need to pay, how often, and how quickly you need to pay off that debt in order to avoid excessive interest. I literally have perfect payment history. I've never missed a payment history. I've never paid late. I've been able to keep my credit utilization low. And so I've done many things throughout my journey that have allowed me to hit an 800 plus credit score. This is from someone who has worked at it for many years. My advice to you is when you get a credit card, make sure that you're only putting things on credit that you can pay off at the end of the month, or that you have a plan to pay off in 3 or less months. Once you start carrying a balance and you start just paying the minimum of those cards, that's the worst recipe for disaster, because that's a debt you're not going to be able to rid yourself on, and it's going to start incurring interest to the point where you may just be paying interest payments and not even paying off the principal. All that to say, when you have a credit card, make sure that you're only putting expenses on it that you can pay off within 3 months tops, and that when you do incur expenses on your credit card, you're paying them timely and you have a plan of payment. To build a strong financial foundation in your 20s and 30s, there's 4 areas to want to focus on: your budgeting, your saving, investing, and managing your credit. Make sure you have a plan around all these 4 areas, and that way you will ensure that you're moving into your later years, into your prime of your life in a stress-free way. My goal is to share the wealth. So share this video with a friend that you think would like this and find this helpful. Make sure you subscribe for more tips on finance, productivity, and just general life advice, because here at Wealthy Young Women, we are transforming knowledge into wealth. We'll be back next week with another video. Stay tuned.